Let's put Codex CLI to the test by recreating an app that I personally use on a daily basis. So I created this local transcription app, which converts sound into transcription in any text box that I click on. The way this works is when I click a couple of hotkeys, I will hear audio feedback. Then I can transcribe, click those hotkeys again, and the transcription is supposed to be there. So let me give you a quick demo. I want you to help me create a local transcription app that is going to transcribe my audio into any text box. I want you to follow the PRD I am going to provide for all the features in this initial version. Okay, and this is actually real-time transcription. It's using Whisper base model. So it's a relatively small model, but still it's pretty accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this new GPT-5 Codex High. I'm going to also show you how long this is going to take. So here we're going to actually start the stopwatch. But first, I want to point out the PRD that it's supposed to use. So use, and then we can just say prd.md. Now, I'm using the latest version of GPT-5 on high settings. This is the version of GPT-5 specifically fine-tuned or optimized for coding in Codex CLI. Right now, I'm using the integration with VS Code. So let's see how this is going to work. In terms of what I want to build, I'm calling this system Verbi. It's a running title. It probably is going to change, but the idea is that it's a standalone application with a Python backend that is going to be running on Apple Silicon. We're going to use the MLX framework for loading both the speech to text model for transcription and later on LLMs, which is going to fix any grammatical issues in there. Now, so this is a high-level PRD. I also provided code snippets. So to make it easy, I wrote some code which actually works. And we're going to see how good this new GPT-5 Codex model is. Okay, so I am going to probably open source this model or this project at some point. If you are interested, let me know. There's going to be a box where you can put your email for updates regarding this project. And I'm also working on a more advanced version, which is going to have an LLM and some other cool features. But let's send this. But before that, let's start the stopwatch. I just want to time how long this is going to take and what issues we're going to face. So this is going to be an example of a real world application that you can build with Codex CLI. Actually, Codex integrated within an IDE in this case. Okay, so right now it's reading the file. Seems like it has read the file, planning approach and inspecting repo structure. In the folder, there's only that prd.md file. I'm going to come back when we have something concrete. Okay, so it added a task list. So first one is understanding requirements and design module layout for Verbi, then implement transcription, recording hotkey and menu bar, and then add supporting assets. So pretty neat. And I can actually see that it's working. So it created this folder with some initial code. I think this is based on the code snippet that I provided. So while this is working, this new GPT-5 Codex model is supposed to be able to work independently for more than 7 hours at a time on large complex tasks, iterating on its implementation, fixing text failures, and so on and so forth, right? Which is pretty incredible, especially that the number of tokens that it can generate are dynamically selected based on the complexity of the task. For example, they say that if you provide a very simple task relative to GPT-5, this is going to generate almost 90% less tokens for the 10th percentile of the easiest tasks, right? But when it comes to the last 10 percentile, in terms of complexity, they found that it can generate up to 100% more or double that the GPT-5 model generates. And that's the reason I also want to track how long it actually takes to create this app for us. Okay, so it's already been 5 minutes and we're still on the implementation part. So the only concern that I have at this point is that I don't hit my limits on the Plus account, while it's building this app. Okay, so it just completed the first iteration or first implementation, and it took about 9 minutes in total. So now it's time to test it and see whether it's going to work or not. Okay, so first we're going to create a new virtual environment. I'm going to call it Codex v, and let's use Python 3.10. Okay, next we're going to install all the requirements. Let's see if it actually created that. Yep, it's there. All right, time to see whether it worked or not. So we're going to run this. Okay, I don't see anything happening yet. It might be downloading the model. Okay, so I can actually see this. Let's start it. This is a quick recording of testing whether the transcription works or not. The hotkeys definitely do not work. And if I stop recording, let's see what happened. So we ran into an issue. I don't know if I can just copy this. I think it has to look up the documentation. I don't think it did it on the first instance. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to restart the stopwatch and let's see how long this is going to take. Okay, so it took about 1 minute, 45 seconds. Seems like it has updated the code. Now, one of the common issues that I have found is that normally if you use these coding agents, they will pin different package versions, and that can cause some issues. First, let's see if the hotkeys work. Okay, they actually are triggering something here. So let's run this. This is a quick test of the transcription capabilities of this new transcription model. Again, same issue. So I think I need to ask it to actually go and look at the documentation. Now, this is the part where you'll have a lot of back and forth with the model or coding agent. So in this case, I don't really see it using any fixed version for the packages. So one of the biggest issues with Codex is that it by default cannot access internet. That means it will not be able to look up documentation. So for example, it says I couldn't hit the docs directly. This environment has network access lockdown. So I updated the loader path based on what the package exposes at runtime. I'm going to try this one more time, although I don't really have high hopes, but let's see. Okay, I don't think the hotkeys work. No, that is fine. I'm going to try to start triggering it for here. This is a quick test of the transcription capabilities. Now we're going to try to stop it. All right, okay, this time it actually is downloading the model. Okay, so some progress. Good news. Perfect. It actually worked. So let's have another test. But the problem is I actually have to trigger it from here. The transcription seems to be working, but the problem is that I have to trigger it by going to the menu bar and then clicking start and stop transcription. Hotkeys seems to be not triggering the actual transcription pipeline. Okay. And yeah, it worked. Okay, so let's send this and let's see if Codex can actually find a solution. By the way, we are about 6 or 7 minutes in, plus the initial 9 minutes. So let's keep going. Okay, so seems like it has implemented a fix, but now this time it switched the hotkeys for me. So now it's supposed to be Command and Shift. So let's see. Okay, so seems like the recording has actually started, and I also heard the audio feedback, which was pretty neat. Awesome. Okay, this is pretty awesome, right? So I think within 20 minutes, we have a usable system that I can use for local transcription. So great progress so far. Now, what I want to do is I want to add the ability to actually see which model is being used. In the menu bar, can you also show which model is being used for transcription? Okay, this time when it triggered the transcription, I did not hear the initial audio, but it was able to transcribe it. Now we're using the WhisperSpal MLX, which is a pretty decent model. I'm running this on M2 Max with 96 gigabytes of unified memory, but still it's really fast. All right, okay, so we'll just restart this again. And if I go here, I can actually see the model that is being used. Really good. Okay. Can you also add the stats, and this should persist across different sessions. So I want to see how many words were transcribed, how many keystrokes were saved, and the total duration that was saved during the transcription process. This seems to be correct. Let's keep going. Okay, so it seems like we have the new feature implemented. So I'm going to just clear this, rerun this again, and then let's see what happens. So it's actually showing the stats here now. Let's trigger this. It seems like after every transcription, you are unloading the model and reloading the model for next transcription. Is this actually the case? Okay, so transcription is correct. Now, if we go back, we can see, yeah, so 23 words, 141 keys. Okay, this seems to be accurate, but let's see if this is the case. I'm going to continue working on this, but I would say that I'm actually pretty impressed. GPT-5 Codex on high setting is a really good agentic coding tool, and I'll highly recommend to test it out. I'm going to continue testing it and see if I can figure out or find out some issues. I have tried to replicate the same app with multiple different coding agents, and they've been able to do it with varying degree of success. But I'm actually pretty impressed by this because I think almost within 30 minutes, we have a fully functional app, at least the transcription part. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to add the LLM part and then try to create a standalone version of this. So stay tuned for that video if you're interested, and also make sure you sign up for the notifications if you are interested in the transcription app. Anyways, I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.